the first pick, Karthus. Looks like they're going to try to lock jungle up early.
Yeah, I mean, I still feel like the jungle pool is very healthy. You could go Lee Sin, you can go even Wukong, right? The Viego is going to be the pick here, and you're going to want to put some pressure onto that Karthus pick, as Elise is going to be hovered here, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think I was actually locked in. It looked like it was for a second there on our UI. I was like, oh, support Elise, I guess maybe. That'll be interesting. But no, will be the Aphelios coming through, and they're going to give the Elise hover back. Now, this is the Evelynn pick that was being discussed on the desk. You know, looking back at the stats, was banned almost every single game that Order played against because Kevy's Evelynn is so good. You very rarely get the opportunity to, in fact, see it. But I don't think it's going to be locked in this case. The misfortune is Puma's most picked in playoffs, and he will lock that one again. This is, again, if you watch LCO, these are the kind of things you expect to see. I'll pair it with the Leona here, it looks like. With the Aphelios coming across here, we are going to, for the first time today, see a late game scaling AD carry in front-to-back team fights at work. So this game already is very different in terms of how it's going to look. We might actually have a game that crests the 30-minute mark here.
Imagine that. Don't get your hopes up, though. We'll have to wait and see on that one, Wolf, as just removing about 7 items from Caps' desk as he can get into the game. Bard did receive...
We were just troll hovering right
He did receive some buffs, but yeah, not going to happen. Braum is going to be coming in here. Obviously can throw the door up, block a lot of the damage from the misfortune, especially if the Aphelios gets into a rough spot. So yeah, very safe, very scaling, just trying to get through the early game, not trying to skirmish too much in that lane. And yeah, I don't mind it from G2. Must feel like the favorites themselves.
So because Karthus has a great clear time, obviously, and can be very powerful in terms of scaling. His impact globally is very important. The said ban here, not a shocker.
Yeah.
But going to on that kind of note is, if Caps gets a champion that can have set up CC for Viego, whatever Kisee ends up playing here in the mid lane is going to be so difficult to play because in the early parts of it, he will not have Kevy's help, you know, and when you have a Viego who can set up a stun for a mid laner who can then CC chain that together, Caps will have so much agency, whereas later on, obviously, the Karthus who's going to farm the jungle very well will have a strong impact. So I think the focus on the mid lane could have been an option here for Order in the second ban phase, but they take the Gangplank away instead.
Yeah, something to note with the Karthus, you really love him as the only AP kind of carry on your team. So I love the bans here from the side of G2. They want to take a lot of, you know, we already see the Graves taken away. We already see the Lucian. It's a lot of these high tier 80 picks already taken off the board. They're going to go ahead and take away 2 more from Kisee with the Aurelia and the Zed. And that means he might need to dig a little bit deeper into his champion pool, something AD to help Karthus just be able to be the only magic damage dealer on his team.
That's a really good call. And Zoe is some of that CC I was talking about, the setup for Viego, the burst damage she has and the pick potential against a jungler that is not very survivable, against a misfortune that, you know, is not going to be helped with the composition just yet at surviving and avoiding these bubbles. You know, the Leona feels a bit of a kind of an awkward pick with the composition they've put together so far. Very strong for 2v2s, but in terms of moving around the map can be very difficult. And I really like the Zoe pick for it. And there's the AD option they're going to go here with the Yone in the mid lane for Kisee.
Yeah, you know, we were asked what statues we wanted to put here on the desk for our first cast, the LEC studio. We went with Yasuo. You know, maybe we should have looked at that Yone, but that's neither here nor there. As we are going to see Nasus hovered at the end here, but you know, it has been chosen, I believe, by this team at least once in the support role.
Lots of fun hovers in this first game between these two.
Yes.
The Aatrox actually goes so well with this draft, though, I think, for Order here, because they can win mid-game fights so extremely well. If they can control that part of the game, then the late game Karthus comes through. He's going to have that ultimate that's going to hit the entire team. Scrappy fights around Rift Herald, second, third Drake fights, where Order can really hit big spikes. The Fiora response here for Broken Blade, definitely a really exciting one because it does give G2 opportunities to slow the game down in the later parts. The side laning he can put off is going to be so frustrating to deal with here. And getting into if he runs into the Karthus just can't compete. He doesn't have any tank stats really, so he can't really make an impact to help out, whereas Jankos has so much agency in both top and mid lanes here with the Zoe and the Fiora So the early game is going to be so difficult here for Order outside of 5v5 team fights. But in the laning phase, I think G2 has such a massive advantage.
I would totally agree. I'm very glad that you put a lot of focus onto that jungle matchup because, you know, it was very face up from Order. They're like, no, we're just going to, you know, Kevy's just going to farm. He's just going to sit there on the Karthus and hopefully he can make the late game. And then they're like, well, Jankos, maybe he just gets to rule the Rift on the Viego and we don't get to see any of that scaling at all. So very curious to see how this game is going to come through with that in mind.
Yeah, I definitely favor G2's draft here, but explosive team fights and some of those mid-game skirmishes is going to be the name of the game for Order. It's going to be how they have to win this, and it's going to be about execution. Again, nerves clearly don't seem to be an issue for Order with those hovers we were seeing. It feels like definitely channeling a little bit of the energy we saw from Pentanet GG last year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best way to get into it, right? You just want to be a little bit just having fun, you know, relaxed. You want to try to get into it in that manner. As let's see how this one is going to go. I think this is a very exciting matchup. Will we see an early upset? How good are G2 really? Can they prove it here in this first game?
I don't think there are any nerves, you know. I'm feeling like personally, you know, the narrative we do sometimes as casters, we're like, oh, it's their first international event, like they could be nervous. There's a crowd. No, I don't think so. I'm just not feeling that right now. All right, well, this is going to be a fun one. Whenever you get the Leona game, you know, a little bit of Aatrox, it does feel like the potential for things to go very wrong for G2 is high if things start off very well for Order, and if they end up winning that first Rift Herald fight, for example, that's one way that this game goes off the rails. But we will have to wait and see. Like, I don't want to predict how this game is going to go because the volatility of Order's comp is very high. Let's just say.
No, that's that's very true, very apparent, and. You know, no Alistair this time around. No flash onto the two of them. I think this bottom lane can be very relaxed and perhaps even a little bit sleepy. We'll have to wait and see if I think Flakked and Targamas want to put on any pressure at all. Otherwise, maybe not. But guys, don't forget to grab your exclusive Scare Prize Prime Gaming emote so you can strut when you flash in and turn a fight. Definitely a very nice emote. Big fan myself.
Yep. Karthus is one of those jungle picks that in pro play does kind of come up every now and then, but it's usually not from your tournament favorite teams. It's also one of those solo queue champions that if you want to ride through solo queue, a lot of famous streamers like to play this pick. Not one that you see in a match like this very often, and one that I don't think we'll necessarily see from Kevy going forward in this group. They did it very face up. And we've talked about the strengths of it. Obviously, it's clear time is the one that you're going to see. If you look at the CS numbers between Kevy and Jankos, he's going to have an advantage throughout all of this early game, and that's just the point of Karthus. He clears insanely fast. We watch it. But he isn't going to be a gank powerhouse in the early parts, and that's where things can go very awry in these solo lanes. So I think that is going to be the focal point for Jankos, is abuse Kisee, abuse BioPanther, if possible, look for those ganks.
Honestly. Bubble, comes in. He's totally fine. Exhaust being held right now by Caps. Just kind of laughing at Kisee. And as you mentioned, you know, Jankos still dealing with his own jungle here. It's going to take him a while to catch up. And this is going to be the name of the game. But I think after, you know, one clear at least, maybe 1.5, 2 clears, you should begin to get a bit active on this map. Really loved the holding of the Fiora counter pick as well for Broken Blade up in the top side. Maybe even expecting the Aatrox to come in, just looking for even more of that 80 damage on the side of Order with the composition with the Karthus. And should be having a pretty fun time on this one, although we do see Kevy just hovering around the top side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be able to battle very well into the Fiora, but the slow he'll be able to put down is actually massive into Fiora. And when Fiora is alone here without Jankos' help, I think there is some kill potential here. There's the slow.
Yeah, he'll just dash away, and actually just going to repost that one. So Broken Blade, I believe, took about negative damage from that trade, and now he's going in on BioPanther. Really able to get that weak spot as Kevy's still hanging around. Nice knock up to really shore up the trade, otherwise not would have looked too good for the side of Order, and Kevy comes up here and helps push to get BioPanther out of this lane.
Broken Blade knows exactly what he's doing, though. He's trying to keep Kevy here for longer, take away his farming time, and he knows that if he can bait a few more of these fights or a few more of these engages from the Aatrox, they can actually then turn it, because Jankos is pathing towards the top side here. Order realizes rather, don't stay too long, back away. But that was really well played from Broken Blade. He could just catch the wave there under turret at no cost to him. And notice that even though it is a 0-0 game here, G2 have a massive hope. And this is a lot based on the CS numbers in the solo lanes.
So now level 3 Braum, Targamas, he is here. With Kevy coming in from the top side to the bottom side, you should expect him to just come into his own jungle as the wall is going to spot him out. Kevy throws the thumbs up, kind of almost expecting it himself. And he should be fine, although he will lose some of these chickens.
Yeah, be unfortunate for Kevy here. And they're really making Kevy's life frustrating right now. He had a nice lead early, as you always do, and he still holds that CS advantage, but some of his jungle is being taken away. And it's the jungle matchup we talked about that's so difficult to play for the Karthus when there's so much explosive power in the Viego early. And solo laners can't really try to push advantages here because of that jungle threat from Jankos. They can't track where he is. And I think that's reflected in the CS numbers you see in both solo lanes. Like, Broken Blade is more than double the CS of BioPanther. Another great riposte from him.
Uh-oh. Bit of damage coming in, and that's the smite on top of it. First blood. Caps able to close the door early in this matchup.
And that's going to be a whole wave that's crashed into this turret as well. Really unfortunate for Kisee, is going to lose out. Does have the teleport. We often see Yone's take Ignite in a lot of different matchups to have that kill pressure. Luckily for him, he has the teleport, so won't lose too much of this, but it is pretty significant. G2 in these solo lanes, so much power.
Yeah, Broken Blade, he's got level 6 here. He has even a nice amount of poke damage on a BioPanther already. It's just another lane that we knew was not going to be fun here for the side of Order.
Yeah, it's not fun, and you know, the power of the Viego into the Karthus means that you can push your advantage so extremely hard in these solo lanes. Even the bottom side here, bit of trouble for Puma and Corporal. We'll take a look at this kill from Caps once again. Has the Chilling Smite picked up here, but he just gets over the minions, hits the Trouble Bubble, and despite the dash attempt here, Kisee cannot get away.
Yeah, it's just level 6 hit first, you know. I think you have to identify that in Caps. I think he's looking at another kill here, but the minions are coming in and didn't quite have the cooldown on his Q ready just yet. He is still level 7, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't need the kill. He's already done so much damage in this lane. As you see, Corporal will just hop away with the plant. You feel the dominoes already beginning to fall a bit here.
If Kevy was playing a jungler that has the ability to kind of assist and help out in these moments, Caps wouldn't be able to play like that.
That's a nice trade, actually, as the ult comes out from Broken Blade, but it's a bit too little too late. BioPanther is able to outplay that, the riposte. I think a little bit ill-timed,
yeah, a little bit,
it led to his death.
A little bit ill-timed. Kevy has level 6 as well here. This was definitely a setup play for BioPanther. Is able to hit those knockups, and this is going to turn the tide a little bit here on the top side of the map. Finally, a little bit of breathing room for BioPanther. Getting that kill on a Broken Blade, does not have teleport. Wave going to crash through. And now, you know, it opens up the map a little bit here for Order. And the longer this, you know, the closer we get to that first fight on Rift Herald is when Order are really going to start to actually look for this team comp's real power in Yone ult, in the Aatrox power in mid-game, obviously the ultimate that you can see from the Misfortune. All of these, you know, are extremely powerful on first Herald fight. Let's watch this fight again. Riposte early here, so still gets caught by the pull and is taken out.
Gets caught by the pull and a follow-up knockup. It's just kind of a disaster in the 1v1 trade. And BioPanther's like, yeah, I still have World Ender, so you are dead, mate.
No commitment here from the bottom side of the map here for Order on Rift Herald, which is a bit puzzling considering I think this is one of the moments where Order's composition is at its strongest to fight for objective, and they just simply give it up.
Yeah, I mean, Requiem not really going to be utilized here. You know, they don't throw it out because they're not willing to fight. And at the same time, you know, this dragon is eventually going to come up. But I think by that time, G2 can just wait and push with the Rift Herald and take another dragon. So not only are they winning in lanes, they're taking all the objectives. And it's a bit of dominance already here from the side of G2.
It really, frankly, is. And Jankos is going to get collapsed on.
He is way too deep in here as he tries to heartbreak and flash away. Is it enough? No, the Requiem will come in, and it will be enough as they hand that kill over to Kevy on the Karthus.
But it's not without cost. You know, the bottom side of the map here, Flakked is going to get a plate, I believe, down there. And, you know, this is an important pick. It's okay, here we go.
Flash comes in, and that might just be enough. He is going to put that ultimate into the back of Caps and take him down in the 1v1, picks up his revenge.
I feel like as we start to like pull the paper out to write the obituary of Order because the lanes are going poorly, G2 is dominant, they have this Rift Herald, and suddenly they strike back. Ultimate will be dropped here from Puma, the bullet time to clear the wave. But this means that G2 can't use this timing to actually instantly drop Rift Herald, give all those plates over to Flakked on the bottom side.
Nice block there from Corporal. Need to get that back for Puma. He needs some items to help out in that bottom lane that he is 10 CS down on. But yeah, it's nice to see some fight here out of Order. And some of those individual 1v1s are looking good. G2, you know, slipping up a little bit, and even this, you know, Jankos just on vision, not respecting the potential for them to collapse onto it.
Yeah, I think the idea here for Jankos is the wave is going to crash into turret. So, you know, if they actually commit here, it will come at a cost. So he just doesn't expect it. He doesn't think it's likely they will actually end up going for this. But they in fact do. And as I mentioned, the cost is that the wave will crash into turret, and this is not a free pick for Order by any means. But I think that was the expectation. Jankos is like, okay, well, you really are going to give that up to kill me, and they did. And then Caps is caught here by a really nice ult from Kisee. So just some small errors in the lanes that end up being kills picked up. But still, CS numbers massively advantage here for G2. They have controlled these lanes, and they're still in a pretty nice spot. The first Drake goes over to them. They have control of the Drake pit for second Drake as it spawns here. And momentum is definitely in their favor.
Yeah, keep in mind they still have the Rift Herald, so again, they could use it to just help out in getting this Drake. Might not even need to, but we will have to see where they do decide to put it down. Jankos is down on the bottom side of the map right now, so looking likely that he can just throw it into that turret that's already taken a couple of plates worth of damage. And just get that in. We do have the Everfrost complete now for Caps, so he should be a lot safer in terms of, you know, not taking a turret shot and then just dying 1v1. So that is a nice little benefit to him. Here's going to be the Rift Herald value. They give a lot of that over to Flakked, as he is going to be just loving it here on the Aphelios. Yeah, not a lot of action for him so far, but he's very far ahead.
Yeah, he really is. And it's going to be, it looks like, potentially an extra charge here. They're going to commit the bullet time to prevent that. Well, that's an ultimate down here. And with this wave push, the 4 wards that G2 had as well, so there's no wraparound, there's no flank potential here. They really thought of everything. There's just not a lot of opportunities for Order to punish this.
We got Kevy coming in from behind. Broken Blade trying to get on in here to BioPanther as he is trying to hit those weak spots. He's got the healing, but he will be forced to flash over the wall anyway. And of course, with Kevy on the top side, G2 saying thank you for the drink.
I really appreciate how Order tried to play this because they know there's absolutely no way that they can make a Drake play here with the bottom push, with all the warding and the positioning there of Jankos. So they decided to send Kevy topside here, but Broken Blade flashes over the big wall. He's totally fine. Fiora is very mobile in these types of situations. They're going to commit even harder here on topside, but the wraparound is real. This actually could be punished by G2. You see the rotation up from Targamas right now. And I think Order realized, okay, this is all we're going to get. A few plates do go down, though.
Yeah, getting some value here for BioPanther. Again, a very experienced player in this roster. He was able to win in the 1v1 on this very difficult matchup, so allowing him to potentially be a win condition as the game goes along a little bit here in the mid-game should be pretty fun to see if they can make that happen. As you see Order, you know, they're still waiting for their first couple of items. Leona here, Kisee. We also have BioPanther. The 2 of them not on a mythic just yet. So I think, as you're mentioning, you know, don't even fight over that second Drake. Just wait for the next one. Wait for the next big objective fight, and then we'll be ready to go.
And the thing about this comp is that these solo laners are so strong in skirmishes around these Drakes, but when they are this far behind because of the jungle matchup, they just don't want to take those fights, even though their comp is based upon them doing so. So, like, Order is kind of trapped between a rock and a hard place here. And the 2,000 gold lead, I think, hold that thought.
Jankos there, he's going very, very deep, has to heartbreak out of there. As you see, Order's trying to get in, but Corporal takes a big hit from the side of G2. As Zoe hits him with the paddle star. Now Caps is looking for a bit more. Wants to get that execution onto Kisee, and he will be able to pick that one up just in time for the second Rift Herald. G2 with a big team fight win.
Yeah, it's massive here. A lot of extra gold going in their pockets. They had the choke point controlled. And like I said, you know, Order want to be able to take these fights around the Aatrox, around the Leona ult, but they just cannot do so when they have no vision, no control over the map. These waves in these soul lanes are losing Order this game very rapidly. It's interesting also to see Puma is going for the Flakked Slayer build here. It's more common in our region to see the Eclipse as Corporal once again going to take a huge chunk of damage. Broken Blade, once again, just has a turret to hide under, so he feels very confident.
I don't know what Broken Blade said to Kevy, but like, this is just not fair at this point. This is like the third or fourth time he's come to gank this lane, but the ultimate is going to be procced here from Broken Blade. He's just surviving, just trying to delay as much time as possible. And yes, Order will pick up the kill.
However,
but at what cost?
Yeah, I mean, Broken Blade is happy to try to escape down there. This time he dies, but the end result is the same because they drop a Rift Herald. So the cross map is better for G2. Yes, you did end up getting an extra wave to crash through, and BioPanther may actually be able to take that turret out. This is going to be another Rift Herald charge here. G2 are trading up in these exchanges. Look at how healthy this bottom turret is. It was not even touched, so it takes so long, and they could just escort this Herald further down, force a bigger reaction here from Order. And this leads to more vision control in the jungle. And it's just a compounding problem here for Order. And the first pick, Karthus, I think is really the biggest problem that we kind of have to zoom in on because it's just not enough
trying to get on in here. Flakked's all alone, has to flash over the wall. He's going really deep for this one. He will pick up the kill and hop straight back as Kisee able to scoop up some of those kills that you wouldn't necessarily expect. I think he's playing this Yone very mechanically solid today.
Yeah. He's going to need more than these isolated kills, though. You know, he needs to have a big ultimate in an upcoming team fight for the sole point.
Dude, Puma, he's got the Nikes on today. This is kind of crazy. He's dodging everything, and now trying to go a bit forward. Kevy looking for that extra damage, but not quite going to get him in Requiem range. That will be just a nice setup from Puma's Caps and Targamas, who are really trying to get that one going.
So Flakked is respawned now. Drake is up in 60. Kisee, flashless and ultless. These are two tools that he would so desperately want to prevent this soul point from going over to G2. Now, this is the trade-off. You get a pick onto the 80 carry, get a bit of extra gold in your pocket, which you so desperately need because you don't have your Mythic online yet. But the trade-off is now your biggest team fight tool with the Aatrox and these mid-game fights. We talked about how this comp is good at that. You don't have it. Now you don't have your jungler either.
Yeah, okay, goodbye, Karthus. You see, he is not going to elect to use the Requiem, and he will come up here in 25 seconds, but he will not be available for this dragon fight. So I suppose he could Requiem when he does come back, but you can see that the amount of siege that G2 have as well, with just even Zoe and Aphelios from ahead, is enough to just control so much of this mid lane.
Like, look at the vision.
And they're going to take this dragon as well for free.
It's actually quite insane, as Dragon is taken for free.
It's a lot of damage into Kisee, but it's a nice little bait, and they bit the bait there as now the Requiem comes in. Caps is also going to go down. That's a couple of kills under the belt here of Order, just like that.
It's extremely greedy from G2 to push that far into all the CC and the setup there with the Leona, obviously, and the Yone. But the vision control that's set up down here on the bottom side is actually just quite insane. You can see all the wards here for G2 on the bottom side of the map. So they feel very comfortable just pushing down bottom side and going for the Drake solo for Jankos. And these tradebacks have made the gold lead a little bit shrunken, right? Order has the kill advantage right now, and this will lead to a mid-turret take. But these champions are starting to lose their power spikes, right? They're going to fall off in the later parts of the game, and that's the bigger concern. If the Yone ults had been big to lead to Order controlling Drakes and having, if they were the ones who were holding 3 Drakes right now, we wouldn't be talking as much about how this composition scales later on. But because they're the ones who are facing Soul Point, they're on a big clock right now, and the time is ticking down very fast. As this is how Kevy died, we were kind of in a bit of a replay when this did occur. Really nice ult from Flakked there at the end to finish him off. It's just the pick potential this comp has, and when you have vision this much controlled, Caps has so much agency. Now this is a bit of an overextension here from Broken.
Yeah, I mean, they have all the vision in the enemy jungle, but they don't have vision behind the Yone, so They're like, oh, it's just him. We can take him out real quick. We have a lot of damage. We're very far ahead. And then, of course, you run straight into MF and Leona, and you begin to question your life decisions, your life choices, as we will have the Randuins here for Caps. Might help him out a little bit, actually, as the teleport is coming in. Kisee takes a lot of damage. Does go and proc that shield bow. Here comes Broken Blade. Will he actually dive the turret? Looks like the answer's no.
Kisee does not have ult because he used it to escape. So Broken Blade might feel, you know, like maybe I could actually dive this and pull this off when this wave crashes through. But we'll think better of it. Is a level down as well in this matchup. Decides to walk away. A lot of extra free side laning going over to BioPanther as well at the top side of the map here. Order are playing the macro aspects of this game well, despite the fact that the bottom side of the map has completely belonged to G2. But if it was a side laning champion that scales later, I think it would be more interesting, right? Than a 2-0 Aatrox pushing top side. But what will it mean when we reach the 25-minute mark of this game is the real question that I don't think Order have an answer to.
Hey, you can see them grouping up now in mid, just trying to take more map control as a team. I think that's kind of what you have to do with this composition. As now they're looking to pull the trigger. Here comes the wobble combo. Targamas is just going to get 100 to 0'd. You see Jankos and Flakked are like, well, nobody else is here. We're not looking to take these team fights, but this flew a little bit too close to the sun, and now 5v4. Order immediately going to get to work on this dragon.
This is the type of team fighting that Order's comp is looking for. These scrappy fights, these isolated picks, and doing it right before an objective like this is how you can win games like this.
They might just be able to do it. Huge damage over the wall, though, from Caps. Kevy is so low. Corporal trying to frontline, and a huge Flakked ultimate comes in. The AoE damage is just too large for the side of G2, but the Requiem from the grave is coming in. It's not quite going to be enough. G2 will be able to take down not only the entirety of Order, but the Baron as well, and they will even take down BioPanther on the backside of this fight.
Really nice read here from G2. You could also see the coaching staff as well. Very relieved, I think, with the scenario. BioPanther, not enough lifesteal to survive through this one, so he's taken out. It's an Ace plus Baron buff here. Going over to G2, Flakked is already going to go ahead and take out an inner turret. So this Baron power play, the Red Bull Baron power play here in this game is going to be pretty massive, you have to imagine. As the control here for Order feels pretty uncrackable. But Caps is able to get his trouble bubble over the wall. It's 20-minute Baron, so the damage isn't there. So the health bars are pretty low. And when Flakked comes over here and has the ult, has the AoE damage, you just can't win this fight anymore. They should have pulled out early when they realized G2 had the read on this, but they felt priced into it, and that's why taking 20-minute Barons is just not something you see very often, especially when you don't have a choke point that the enemy team is funneling through. And yeah, this is the reaction, of course, here from the coaching staff of G2. Very hyped about that turn.
Yes, very true. Some concerned faces as well in that house. So, you know, understandable with the way this game has gone.
Look at the damage for Flakked. Nearly 5,000 in that team fight at 20 minutes because of the big ultimate there.
Yeah, he just infernomed the entire backline after Caps set it up with the Palace Star, and it was enough to get the job done. So now looking to push in, already have a 4,000 Red Bull Baron power play. Of course, they're looking to push in to this base and get even more of this game.
Yeah, this is one of those games that the control of the side lanes has led to so many problems for Order. And then the lead that G2 has now on the map and the Baron buff, that's 4,000 we're looking at right now, 4,200 nearly. Means that, like, there's not one ward for Order, like, on the map. There's nowhere you could be. You have to sit in your base. And G2 are just going to demolish these turrets with the siege you talked about earlier.
Kevy just stepped on that bubble.
He's so far back, he'll be okay, but it's just the story of this game.
This means it's a free turret here. They're looking for a bit more as a 3-man knockup, actually, from Targamas on that Braum. And you can see Kisee, you know, he's trying to use some of that, those early skirmishes, some of that early gold that he was able to get, but it's not quite enough. Not sure what that was from Flakked. We're just going to pretend that didn't happen. But other than that, they get an inhibitor, and they should be able to pick up the Cloud Soul as well. It's very early on, 23.5 minutes into the game.
Caps has a Void Staff. He's got 8 stacks of Dark Seal in this game. His Zonias is online. He can be places that Zoe should be allowed to get. He could hit trouble bubbles. But again, I mean, I just want to like highlight the ward coverage once again on the bottom side of the map here. it's so scary when you don't know where Caps is to even walk out to clear wards, because he will trouble bubble you, burst you down, you're dead, that's the end of the story. So when you don't know where Caps is, you're like, can I even take my red buff right now? You know, is it safe? And slowly they group up to clear those wards away. But G2 are already moving towards, you know, top side of the map. It's just so difficult for Order to win a team fight now when the burst damage that Zoe has and Aphelios has is really well and truly online. Misfortune can't keep up with that unless she has an amazing ult that's set up by Yone ult, but he just gets burst so quickly, gets slept while he's trying to set these up. Like, your opportunities are limited, Valdes.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say with so many words.
Yeah, you take the goal difference graph, and something happened there after 20 minutes. I'm sure you guys remember the Baron call one pick into thinking they can do it, and they have a Karthus. They have a lot of damage on the Baron, but just a little bit too early and a little bit too much poke damage from the side of G2 was all it took. It was a great fight, and I think Order got a little bit too far ahead of themselves on that one. So now Kisee is committing very heavily onto a fed Fiora, or at least a Fiora at all. Not very fed, but, you know.
Hullbreaker.
Able to survive enough, right? She has Hullbreaker, she has a stopwatch.
Yeah.
You're not going to kill her. It's not going to happen. As Corporal will just die, and Broken Blade will be able to use that. Really nice knock-up from the Aatrox. BioPanther really trying to make a case here to win this one towards the end, but with the Requiem coming out, we might get a kill here. Nope, not quite, as she will actually die before it goes off. And it's now G2 just cleaning up the pieces of the puzzle here. Flakked, really nice stopwatch. That's one to win my heart, indeed, as a stopwatch connoisseur myself. And that might just do it. Everybody on the side of Order goes down, and G2 are in the base and looking to end this game.
Yeah, they've got a set of super minions coming down to the bottom side as well. Cap's just looking for more kills as they wait for the minions. So it's all over but the crying, unfortunately, is Corporal's gonna look for a stun setup.
Yeah.
And it will not happen.
He's trying to, you know, he's trying to do his best, but yeah, it's going to be the end of the game, guys. G2 with a strong showing here. Not the cleanest game, but they got it done in swift fashion. About a 27-minute game once again, as Caps with a star performance on the Zoe this time around.
And the Viego pick has always been a staple of the LEC. I think it was more popular in the LEC than other regions for a long time, and you know, obviously it took off in the LCK in particular later on. But it was such a great response to the early Karthus pick, and those solo lanes just could not operate at all whatsoever because Karthus just can't protect those lanes. You got the Viego there, the CS advantages were real, and the kills that we did see, unfortunately, from Kisee were not at impactful moments. They were not at moments that could lead to advantages, except the Baron they attempted but then failed. And you could see the ideas behind the composition, but I think G2 just reacted so well, and they had the better draft. They outplayed them through the mid-game. Vision control was real, and you know, this is a great sign. I think if you're EG watching this game, you were hoping you were going to maybe see some weak points, but not in this first one. I don't think G2 showed any